Hello and welcome to a special board meeting scheduled for Monday, June 30th, 2025. The time is now 4:30 p.m. and we are calling this meeting to order. Can we please call the roll?
Mrs. Arvanites,
Here.
Mrs. Assef,
Here.
Mrs. Hostler,
Here.
Mrs. Troutman,
Here.
Mr. Bresnahan,
Here.
Mrs. Slawinski, Dr. Henry.
We have 5 board members present, 2 absent. Can we please stand for the Pledge of Allegiance? Just give me 1 second. We'll get to public comments. I just have to find my words of wisdom. 1 second, please. Okay, here we go. Moving on to, we'll open today with our public comments portion of the meeting. Public comments section of the board meeting provides an opportunity for community members to share information and perspectives with the Board of Education. And while the board does not respond during public comments, we are listening and thoughtfully considering the messages being shared. Each of us has high expectations for our community, and we ask that public comments are respectful and do not mention any individuals by name. The way in which we publicly engage when sharing differing perspectives is an opportunity to model healthy and respectful discourse for our students and greater community while creating an environment of collaboration and partnership. There will be up to 30 minutes allocated for public comments with up to 3 minutes per speaker. The board secretary will give you an indicator when you have 30 seconds left. We can start with our first speaker.
Katie Cunningham. Okay, there, I think the mic's on now. Okay. All right. Good afternoon. My name is Katie Cunningham, and I am a parent of a rising 3rd and 5th grader at Jackson Elementary School. A consistent theme we've heard time and time again is that people are drawn to Elmhurst for the excellent schools. I am confident that numerous people have stood before all of you and shared that one of the key reasons they moved to Elmhurst was for the school system. A quick Google search confirms this. Elmhurst schools are frequently highlighted as some of the best in the area. However, recent decisions regarding class sizes will most certainly start to undermine that reputation. Additionally, these decisions will impact metrics that schools in the state use to evaluate school performance. More importantly than test scores, though, is the fact that the outcomes of each student in these larger classes will be impacted. Class size is an extremely crucial factor in student success and education, and it appears that the districts surrounding Elmhurst recognize that. For example, in Hinsdale, District 18, there have been 335 sections of kindergarten through 5th grade over the past 3 school years. Of those 335 sections, only 4 had 25 students. The remaining 331 sections had 24 or fewer students, and only a handful of those actually even reached 23 or 24. The vast majority of classes in Hinsdale have just 20 or 21 students, demonstrating their commitment to maintaining small class sizes. In Glen Ellen, District 41 for the 24-25 school year, there was not a single K-4 section that exceeded 25 students. At Forest Glen and Ben Franklin, the district maintained small class sizes, even as students progressed through elementary school. For example, keeping 4th grade sections at 22 students when they could have condensed classes to 26 or 27. At Forest Glen, there were 83 third grade students that were divided into 4 sections. And at Churchill, there were 99 third grade students who were spread across 5 sections, resulting in class sizes of 19 or 20. Even if Churchill condensed to 4 sections, class sizes would still be only 24 or 25, which is less than many of our 3rd grade sections that are planning to have this upcoming school year. These numbers show that it is possible for schools to continue to maintain small class sizes, even as students progress through elementary school. If Elmhurst schools fail to prioritize individual student attention, both our students and the broader community will be impacted. Prospective residents may choose to move to neighboring towns where they can be confident their children will receive a more personalized educational experience. These decisions have broader, long-term consequences, which is why it's essential for all stakeholders to fully understand their impact. Thank you.
John Bischoff.
Hi, my name is John Bischoff. I'm sure many of you recognize me. I have 3 students in district, one rising freshman, one rising 7th grader, and a rising 3rd grader at Edison, where our class size last year in 2nd grade was 2 sections, one of 26, one of 27. Now, of these classes, the teachers were doing their best and very excellent, but it was very apparent that they did not have the resources available, the time available to them to give students, especially those with IEPs, enough one-on-one time. And I know this coming from someone who's going through that process myself. My daughter had her domain meeting and will be evaluated in the school section next year for an IEP. And more specifically, she needs help with math. And I don't think that we have a math specialist in K through 5 at any of the schools, which I can't imagine for a city of Elmhurst with such great schools. Even having one, roaming math coach would be a distinct upgrade from what we have right now. Now, with class sizes the way that they are and remaining the way they are at Edison specifically, 26 and 27 children respectively, and that's before any additions that may have come into the district. Children with IEPs, and as we know in 3rd grade, this is when our children are taking the skills to learn how to read from that until reading to learn. And children that are behind need to be brought back up to their peers, the levels that their peers are at, 2nd, 3rd, 4th grade before they get well behind. So while teachers are struggling to maintain an entire classroom of kids while also providing one-on-one care for some of the kids that are struggling and need the extra help, that's pulling all of the kids in the class behind. The kids that are up to snuff and right at where they're supposed to be have to wait on the kids that need to catch up. The kids who are excelling that could also benefit from one-on-one time to excel even further, they're not going to get as much help as a kid that's struggling because we've got to keep our test scores up. We've got to keep all of our metrics and standards up. And I don't disagree with that, and I think that we need to maintain our high test scores, and we've been seeing those increases in K through 8. We don't want to lose them.
30 seconds.
Now, I'm not mentioning anyone by name, but I went to many forums and Q&As with people, and class size was mentioned as a priority for almost all of the people that were up there discussing at recent Q&As for school board elections. We're not seeing it now. That was one of my first things that I said on my patch interview and other things. I am very concerned with maintaining small class sizes and the excellence of our education here in District 205. Thank you.
Is there anyone else that would like to address the board? Come on up.
Hi, I'm Lauren. I have 2 kids that go to Jackson, one going into 3rd and one going into 1st grade. My day job is I'm a school psychologist, so I work at helping to advocate for students with special needs or students that need extra help. I think my concern as a parent with a student that is going from a class size of 21 to 22 to 28 is the middle kids will get lost within that. They're not the ones screaming and shouting, they're the internalizers. And I feel like with the smaller class size, the teachers have been able to get to know them individually and address what their needs are and to help them grow. And I guess from working in school, seeing the smaller class size just helps all students grow. Kids that have IEPs, without IEPs, in the REACH program, it is for the greater good of all students for that teacher to have more one-on-one time with the students. I've seen class sizes of 26. I worked in CPS before, and like, it doesn't fare well for any of the students. And I live with an educator, and my mother was one, and just knowing that them being able to get to know the students and have that small group time. If you have 28, your group size is 6 with kids instead of having, maybe you have a group size of 3 and 4 when you have smaller class sizes. So just as a parent and as educator, if we could help to keep class sizes down, it helps behaviors as well within the classroom, just because the teacher is able to see more and build more of that classroom community. And I think the educators are great. And could they do it? Yes, they could. But I think as a parent, my kid comes home and tells me everything and he's doing fine, but I worry that like, will he go to the teacher if he doesn't have that rapport, that time to build that relationship with her? So thank you guys. Thanks for all you guys do too. So thank you.
Lauren, really quick, just because we don't have you documented, what is your last name also?
Canfield.
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 Thank you so much.
No problem. Thank you.
I'll take that as, that's it? Okay, thanks. Thank you to everyone who took the time to voice their concerns, support, or perspectives with the Board of Education. Common practice of the board is to follow up with public commenters after the board meeting as needed. Thank you. We will move on to our action agenda items. Item A is our first item, and that is our personnel report.
Yes, good afternoon, everyone. So this is a routine report that we ask the board to take action on. It's typically under the consent. The HR department continues to process personnel transactions throughout the summer. We recommend that the board approve the personnel report tonight as presented.
Can we have a motion?
I move that the board approved the personnel report as presented.
I'll second.
Motion made by Mrs. Trotman, second by Ms. Hostler. Any comments from the board? Nope. We can call the vote, please.
Mrs. Troutman?
Yes.
Mrs. Hostler?
Yes.
Mrs. Assif?
Yes.
Mr. Bresnahan?
Yes.
Dr. Henry? Mrs. Lewinsky? Mrs. Arvanites?
Yes. 5 ayes, 0 nays, 2 absent. Motion passes. Item B is transitional services for the new assistant principals.
So Jackson and Field Elementary School will both be receiving a new assistant principal starting August 4th, 2025. The Jackson assistant principal was approved at the June regular meeting. We are currently in the search process for the Field assistant principal and hope to have a recommendation to the board at a subsequent meeting. As part of our process and to support a transition in leadership, consideration also that August 4th date is 1 week before Teacher Institute, and the first day of student attendance is August 13th. We're recommending and hoping that the board will consider up to 4 extra workdays for these 2 future leaders for the purposes of onboarding. Those onboarding dates would be during the month of July in advance of that August 4th start date. They would have opportunity to work with the principal and district leadership as well as other stakeholders to get acclimated to their new positions and set up for success for the 25-26 school year. We recommend the request for those onboarding days as presented.
Can we have a motion?
I move that the Board of Education, sorry. I move that the Board of Education approve up to 4 days for onboarding purposes during the month of July for these 2 elementary school assistant principal positions.
I'll second.
Motion made by Ms. Assef, second by Ms. Hostler. Any comments from the board? Seeing none, can we call the vote?
Mrs. Assif?
Yes.
Mrs. Hostler?
Yes.
Mr. Bresnahan?
Yes.
Mrs. Troutman?
Yes.
Mrs. Lewinsky? Dr. Henry? Mrs. Arvanites?
Yes, 5 ayes, 0 nays, 2 absent. Motion passes. Item C is the student settlement agreement.
In several previous closed sessions, the board has discussed the terms of the settlement agreement, and so I would ask that you provide our opportunity to move forward with that.
Can we have a motion?
I move that the Board of Education approve the settlement agreement for student 25-01 as presented during past closed sessions. I'll second.
Motion made by Mrs. Hostler, second by Ms. Troutman. Any comments from the board? Seeing none, can we please call the vote?
Mrs. Hostler,
Yes.
Mrs. Troutman,
Yes.
Mrs. Assaf,
Yes.
Mr. Bresnahan, Mrs. Lewinsky, Dr. Henry, Mrs. Arvanites.
Yes. 5 ayes, 0 nays, 2 absent, motion passes. Item D is the last item for action, transition and consulting services with Mr. Dada.
So Mr. Mosendata has served as our interim assistant superintendent of finance and operations. During this time, he has began to work really closely with the administration team and provides a level of expertise and oversight in some specific areas. The Board of Education has been very thoughtful when it comes to transitions of cabinet level members. And so once again, I'm coming to the board to continue that practice of being thoughtful and making sure transitions are seamless and that the work continues and that we're able to capitalize off of the over 40 years of expertise and service that Mr. Dada brings to the business office, specific in areas such as our insurance program, as well as looking at some of our cost analysis and making sure we continue to maximize expenditures, that we're providing the excellent quality educational experience we do. So at this time, I would like the board to consider transition times. His consulting work will be under the direct management and approval of me, as well as working closely with Mr. Joseph Blomquist, who begins as our new Assistant Superintendent of Finance and Operations July 1st. And so we're asking for up to a maximum of 200 hours, but those hours will be in direct coordination with me and Mr. Blomquist to make sure that we're maximizing his expertise as we have this transition and continue to do the important work that we want to do within this department.
Can we have a motion?
I move that the Board of Education approve the agreement with M. Mosendata for school business official coaching services in the amount of $200 per hour at a cost not to exceed $40,000, maximum 200 hours.
I'll second. Motion made by Mrs. Assaf, second by Ms. Arvanites. Questions, comments from the board? Courtney?
So, I'm obviously supportive of a seamless transition between an interim and a new hiree, especially at the cabinet level when they're overseeing the entire district. I feel like we are going to have to make some difficult financial decisions coming up in the next few months. And to me, this just seems a lot. Like, that's 5 weeks. Mr. Blomquist has been at meetings and board meetings since he was hired. And I just wonder if we're going to need this much. And I know you're saying maximum of to give yourself that room, but I guess I'd like to hear updates from the district about how many hours are being spent. It just seems like 5 weeks is a lot for not a new financial person, right? Like he has been assistant superintendent, or what was he? A director of financial, Mr. Blomquist?
Oh, yeah, director.
Yeah, director. So, I mean, it's not like he's new into this world. So I would just appreciate it if you could keep the board updated and, be judicious about how we are using these hours. Because I can see Mr. Dada, who's a incredibly dedicated person, sitting here for 8 and 10 hours a day telling Joe, this is what you got to do, because I do think he has some great insight, but I would just hope that we are going to need it as need be and not just go up to that 200 hours, 200 hours, yeah. Mm-hmm.
So yes, we can definitely I will provide the board with an update to let you all know in terms of the amount of hours. To be clear, no, it is not expected that he's going to be here sitting in the office. We have hired an extremely capable Assistant Superintendent of Finance and Ops. There are, and I think I outlined this, there are some very specific projects that he has started on that we want to continue. One that I will elevate in the room is that work that's being done with the Insurance Committee. And so we definitely do not have a set schedule in terms of him being here full days. It will be as a consult as is basis, and we will be very mindful about the hours and making sure that when he is providing those consulting services, that we're maximizing that to support the continued goals of us meeting those goals that we've outlined and that you will hear more about in upcoming financial presentations.
Forgot one question. Is there a time frame?
Yes, I think we had on here, the time frame for this was July 1.
July 1 to June 30th.
Okay.
It covers the entire fiscal year as
So
needed.
it can be throughout the entire year?
Correct. As needed.
Yeah, I think the value that Mr. Dada has provided to us as a board and the district administrative team in, a time of just needing consult and clarity has been invaluable to the district. I agree with Courtney when it comes to transitional services and how often, we want to wean off, of course, and have him as consult and all the expertise he brings, but also preparing and supporting our ability to move forward in the future without him. So thank you for that. Anything else from the board? Okay, then we'll call the vote.
Mrs. Assif?
Yes.
Mrs. Arvanites?
Yes.
Mrs. Hassler?
Yes.
Mr. Bresnahan?
Yes.
Mrs. Troutman?
Yes.
Mrs. Slawinski? Dr. Henry?
5 ayes, 0 nays, 2 absent, motion passes. Item 4, board communications. Anything from board members? I wasn't made aware prior to the meeting, but putting it out there, anything from board members to share? Okay, we'll skip board communications, and then we go to upcoming meetings. July 29th, 2025, we have a Board of Education meeting at 7 p.m. here at District Center in rooms 215, 16, and 17. And with that, it is 4:52, and we are adjourned.